Hello, I'm Devin Andreas. This is Lasers Wood Shop, and this is my very first video. Today we're going to build a desk, a simple desk, no doors and drawers. It's going to be open on the bottom, but it's going to have a solid wood top, 1 3/4 walnut, black walnut, and the legs are going to be hard maple. And today I'm going to talk about the project a little bit, and also going to talk about how we buy wood at the lumber yard, because it can be very confusing and you could waste a lot of money, a lot of trips back and forth to the lumber yard itself. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so when you buy lumber at the lumber yard, you don't get regular sizes, except for lengths are usually pretty close to 10 foot, 8 foot, 12 foot, whatever you're going to get. The problem is, come up this way. The widths are never very consistent. Sometimes they're 4.5, and then you get down here, and this one's 5. This is 5 1/4. This is 5 inches here, so on and so forth. You get kind of all over the place. Now, even though they straight rip one edge, and they surface 3 sides, so 1, 2, and the other side here, they surface 3 sides, you always have a little bit of inconsistency on one edge. So you have to plan out your cuts. You have to plan out your cuts, and you have to plan out the wood that you're going to buy. Okay? So you're going to know what you need before you go there. All right? So in this case, I bought what I think are enough boards to make all the cuts that I need. I need 5 boards on the top that are 60 inches a piece. I need 1 long board in the back that's going to be 51.5. I need another long board in the back that's going to be 3 inches. And then I need two boards on the side that are going to be 4.5 inches wide, and then 4.5 inches tall, and then 21 or so wide, and then 2 more that are going to be another 21.5 inches wide, and then that should be all the walnut that I need. Okay, so it's very confusing when you're at the lumber yard to know exactly how many boards and which boards you need to buy. So you have to think on your feet when you're there at the lumber yard. Have a plan, maybe in your hand, have a drawing, whatever you need. All right, in this case, like I said, I think I bought enough to get through this project, but I'm not really sure at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. I'm going to mark my boards 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right now, and then I'm just going to measure where we start here, 4.5, and all the way down, marking my important measurements, just like I was saying before. Okay. Then I'm going to go to the computer and get on SketchUp and draw out my boards that I have them as they measure out to be. Okay. Then I'll know where I can do my cuts, and if I have enough boards to complete the project. If not, I'll have to go back to the lumber yard and get something else, get another piece of walnut. Hopefully not, but I think I got enough. Okay? Okay, now I got all my boards drawn on SketchUp here, and as you can see, they're all various lengths and widths. And because of the bow in the boards that are not straight, or the side of the boards are not straight, I've just in SketchUp here made a measurement to where the 4.5 inch stops, if you can see what I'm saying, 4.5 inch stops, and the 5 1/8 begins. Instead of making a curve in SketchUp, I just did them in the square increments. That way, when I have my actual piece, then I can put it on here and get a feel for where I'm going to make my cuts. Okay, I would use the panel optimizer, the free panel optimizer that I found from one of Steve Ramsey's videos. But in this particular case, all the boards are different sizes and different widths and all that, so you can't really use that so well in this particular case. Okay, so after our visit to the computer, we see clearly that we don't have quite enough, almost, but we don't have quite enough walnut to get this project done. So, as you can see, I had to buy another board. I had to go back to the lumber yard and buy another board, and this time I overbought a little bit by getting a 7.5 inch wide board and 10-foot length. But that's okay, because we're going to have a little bit of scrap, and we know that we'll be able to complete the project. Now I've got a picture of all the boards on SketchUp. Now I'm out here in the garage, and I'm going to take my tape here, and I'm going to mark off where these boards are going to be cut. Because I don't want to be confused. I don't want to be buying more wood than I need to be. So this one, the first one is going to be, let's see, the first one's going to be 4.5 by 21.5. Okay. I'll come down here. Just up right there. There you go. Boom. That's it. And then I'll take my another piece here. And this one's going to be 5 inches by 60 inches. Okay, good. And this last piece, the third and final piece, is going to be 4.5 by 21.5. Okay, and that's going to be down here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and finish up and mark the same thing on all these boards. Okay, I've got all my boards marked, and I've got them stacked up here in the truck out of the way. I'm ready to make my first cut on my first board. I've got my stop block in place, and I'm just going to make rough cuts right now. I'm not going to cut them exact because I'm not sure if this is set up square or not. I know this cut, of course, will be square, but I'm not sure 100% if this cut will be square or not. So I'm just going to make rough cuts, a little bit more than what I need, and then I'll final cut them a little bit later. All right, here goes the first one. Need my mask. All right, let's rock. Okay, now I have everything cut to its rough length. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and rip all the walnut pieces to their final width. Okay, first one is 3 inches. Here I go. Okay, we've got everything ripped to its final width. Now I'm going to take all the top pieces and I'm going to square up the edges. These two sides the long sides are parallel. Okay, I'm going to square up the edges because when we cut them on the chop saw, it may have not been perfect. So it probably still won't be perfect. But anyway, we're going to square up the edges, and then we're going to cut all the top pieces to their final length. And the reason why I'm doing it in this particular order is because there are going to be through mortises on the top, from the legs through the top of this particular desk, as the design we're going with. So to do that operation, I'm going to have to later, after I get all these cut to the final length, I'm going to cut a dado in 2 dados, 2 in each one of the end pieces of the top. So there'll be a small dado, a square dado right here, and there'll be another square dado right here on this side. So I have to cut these to their perfect and final length before I do anything, otherwise those dados might be off one direction or the other. So normally when I laminate up a top, I would laminate everything first and then slice it to its final length on either side, so I wouldn't have to worry about matching up the edges of the top. But in this particular case, I'm definitely going to have to do at least 2 of the boards to their final length before I do anything else. So, and I want to do all the top pieces before I cut all the apron pieces to their final length, because I want to make sure that they match up perfectly and square in the end. Okay, so now I'm going to just square up these ends, and then on all the top pieces, I've already squared up the ends of all the apron pieces. I haven't cut them to their final length yet. Like I said, that'll be later. Okay, here we go. This is going to be the top of the desk, of course, this way, but at any rate, I've arranged the boards in a sort of a pattern that where the grain matches. As you can see, the dados are going to be roughly here on these outside, on this outside board, and then one at the bottom there, and then this outside board here, and one at the bottom on that board. Split in this one, I kept that. It's part of the character of the piece. It'll be kind of awesome. I'll fill it with epoxy to stabilize it a little bit later. That's going to be the top of the desk. Okay, so now I've got these hard maple right here. All the legs are going to be made from hard maple. They're each going to be 3" by 3" legs, and I'm going to go ahead and cut these down to a rough size. And then I'm going to laminate everything together, so each leg will end up being 3 by 3. But right now I'm just going to rip them down, or cross-cut them down to a rough length, and then later I'll rip them and cut them down to their final length after I put them through the planer and joiner and all that good jazz. Alright, so for now, here we go.